The Galactic Council thought they were sentencing another primitive human to death in their combat arena. The crowd of alien spectators cheered as the doors opened, expecting to see terror in the humans' eyes. But when Marcus Chin stepped into the blood-soaked sand, something glinted on his chest that made the arena fall silent. The Vortak Coliseum had stood for 3,000 years as the galaxy's ultimate proving ground, where disputes were settled through combat and the weak were separated from the strong. Representatives from across the known worlds gathered in the massive amphitheater to witness justice delivered through violence. Today's entertainment was supposed to be simple. A human had been caught smuggling medical supplies to a quarantined world, violating council law. The punishment was trial by combat against the arena's reigning champion. Marcus Chin walked slowly across the sand, his worn jumpsuit marking him as nothing more than another spacer who had crossed the wrong people. The alien crowd hissed and chittered with anticipation, placing bets on how quickly the human would fall. Above them, council members sat in their gilded boxes, already discussing the next case on their docket. Another soft-worlder, sneered Counselor Vex High, adjusting his ceremonial robes. These humans break so easily. Perhaps we should find more challenging entertainment. The arena's champion emerged from the opposite gate, a massive Crothan warrior standing 3 meters tall, his chitinous armor gleaming under the artificial suns. Korthax had killed 47 challengers without suffering a single wound. His razor-sharp claws had torn through the galaxy's finest warriors like paper. Human, Korthax bellowed, his voice echoing off the arena walls, prepare to die for your crimes against the council. Marcus stood perfectly still, making no move toward the weapon racks that lined the arena walls. The crowd began to murmur, confused by his lack of fear. Some spectators leaned forward, trying to understand why this human seemed so calm. I've faced worse than you, Marcus said quietly, his voice somehow carrying across the entire Coliseum. You have no idea what you're dealing with. That's when the light caught the metal tags hanging from his neck. Altarian diplomat in the front row gasped, his translator device struggling to process what he was seeing. The small metal rectangles bore inscriptions that made his blood run cold. Stop the match, the diplomat screamed, leaping to his feet. Stop it now. But his words were lost in the roar of the crowd as Korthax charged forward, his claws extended. The Crothan warrior had ended countless battles with his opening assault, using his overwhelming size and speed to crush opponents before they could react. Marcus didn't run. He didn't dodge. He simply stepped forward. What happened next would be replayed across the galaxy for generations. The human moved with a precision that defied explanation, his hands finding pressure points on the massive alien that shouldn't have existed. Korthax's charge became a stumble, then a fall, then a very long silence. Impossible, whispered Counselor Zethmar, staring at the motionless champion. He killed Korthax with his bare hands. The Altarian diplomat was now screaming in his native tongue, pointing at Marcus's chest. Other species began to recognize the significance of what they were seeing. Those small metal tags weren't just identification, they were a warning. Do you know what those tags mean? Marcus asked, looking directly at the council box. His voice was steady, conversational, as if he hadn't just killed the galaxy's most feared gladiator. They mean I'm not just human. I'm military human. The arena fell into absolute silence. Even species that had never encountered humans before knew the stories. Earth's military forces were legendary throughout the galaxy, not for their technology or their numbers, but for their absolute refusal to be broken. Those tags, Marcus continued, bending down to retrieve something from Korthax's body, tell you exactly who you just tried to execute. Staff Sergeant Marcus Chin, Terran Special Forces, 3rd Recon Battalion. Combat veteran of the Proxima War, the Vegan Blockade, and the Andromeda Incident. The council members began backing away from their viewing box. They had heard the stories of what happened to civilizations that harmed human military personnel. Earth didn't negotiate. Earth didn't demand reparations. Earth simply arrived. You thought you were dealing with a smuggler, Marcus said, walking toward the arena exit. But smuggling medical supplies to save dying children? That's not a crime where I come from. That's duty. We didn't know, Counselor Vexhai stammered. The charges said I violated your blockade, Marcus interrupted. What they didn't say was that your blockade was letting an entire colony die from a plague you could have cured months ago. The crowd parted like water as Marcus approached the exit. No one dared block the path of someone wearing those tags. Behind him, arena staff rushed to tend to Korthax. But it was already too late. The champion who had never been defeated now served as a reminder of what happened when you underestimated Earth's finest. Here's what's going to happen. Marcus announced to the entire Colosseum. You're going to lift that blockade. You're going to send medical aid to Kepler Colony. And you're going to pray that my commanding officer doesn't decide to pay you a personal visit. Within hours, the blockade was lifted. Medical ships raced toward Kepler Colony carrying the supplies that could have been delivered months earlier. The Galactic Council issued an official apology to Earth and implemented new protocols for identifying military personnel from member worlds. Marcus Chun became a legend, but not for winning in the arena. He became a symbol of why the galaxy had learned to respect the small metal tags that Earth's soldiers wore. Because behind every tag was a story, and behind every story was someone who had earned the right to wear it. The Vortak Coliseum still stands, but it's never been quite the same. Carved into the arena floor where Korthax fell are the words Marcus spoke that day. Never underestimate someone who fights for others instead of themselves.